I actually have salt water in my eyes. I don't know if it's because I'm tired or because I just sat through watching the Meg 2. Oh, and now my eyelid's doing something weird. Damn you, Jason Statham. Good evening, it's Adam here again with another quick instant movie review for you. So tonight I watched the latest Jason Statham film, The Meg 2, The Trench. This film is the sequel to the 2018 film called The Meg. Once again, Jason Statham returns as Jonas Taylor, a bloke who now seemingly is involved with environmental work, stopping corporate espionage people dumping toxic waste into the ocean, and still continues his obsession with the Megladon. And now he's working with a team of other scientists who are all very interested in going down beyond this point in the ocean, down to this trench where more Megladons apparently are hiding out, and to study them. But when something goes horribly wrong, the Megladons escape from this barrier that stops them coming into our world, and the Stath has to work against the clock before these Megladons not only destroy us as a civilization going for a casual swim, but also some nasty, sinister corporate espionage bits and pieces going on in the background. Ooh, who can be trusted, who can not be? Oogie boogie. As I mentioned, this film is a sequel to the 2018 film. The original director of that did not return for this, but the English director Ben Wheatley is directing this. Now, when this was announced, it was kind of like a joke. Ben Wheatley is known for doing some pretty surreal horror films. In the Earth was his last film in 2021, which was a real nasty piece of horror film. He also did the great film called Free Fire, which, if you haven't seen that, is great. The very surreal film called High Rise. And you've also got Sightseers, which was one of his big first ones, and Kill List. So he's done some very interesting work. And the straight to Netflix film Rebecca with Armie Hammer, the less said about that remake of the Alfred Hitchcock film, the better. And now for Ben Wheatley to come in and direct this mega American action blockbuster shark film with Jason Statham at the heart of it is a very interesting choice from a director point of view. But look, one thing I can say about the Meg 2 is it's very well directed. There's some really great shots in this, kind of a little bit on the verge of horrific. And then there is also some absolute craziness going on. This film is basically about 5 films in one, I'm pretty sure. You've got Jason Statham starting off in this kind of really sort of sub-adventure type of thing to open up with, where there's a few fight sequences, there's a dive off a boat, there's all sorts of stuff, and then there's a deep dive into the beyond the safe zone into the trench, which kind of is interesting timing, seeing we had all that stuff happen with the little, private submarine bits and pieces going on. So that was interesting. And then we've got the corporate espionage part that's back on another boat, and then we've got a trip out to an island to stop these mercenaries, and then to stop the Megadons. This film has got so many different things going on. There's a helicopter thing going on. There's so much stuff happening in certain sections of this film. But then there's also parts where it kind of slows right down, and then it's like everyone went, oh, how long is this film going for? We need to hurry it up now. One whole action sequence takes place over a 20-second period, and about 12 things happen in this one period involving a helicopter, refueling, creatures, things blowing up, and people escaping. There's a lot going on in certain sections of this. You will be very happy to know that the scenes involving Jason Statham on a jet ski fighting the Megladons is extremely entertaining. That is one very good part of this film. But there is some other parts that are a little bit on the nose. But look, let's be honest. We are here for the sharks. And I think the problem with this film is that, yeah, okay, you're always going to get the relatively crap dialogue, some, relatively unorthodox and, let's just put it, bad acting from other people. But one thing you do expect going into a Meg film is lots of Megs. Well, we do get that to a point. In fact, there's over 3 or 4 Megs in this film, but we don't always get to see them. There's a large chunk of this film that we don't actually get to spend much time with the sharks. And I was like, well, hang on, what's going on now? Why are we in this shooty actiony thing? What is going on? So there's a few things here that don't really ring true to the title, which is a bit of a shame if you're here for just for the sharks. But yeah, we do get Jason Statham's shark puncher back. We do get him saying Megladon a few times, which is pretty exciting. And yeah, there's a few moments where everyone thinks they're safe and protected, but that clearly does not happen. For me, one of the best shark films is probably The Shallows. I really loved Deep Blue Sea when I was back in the 90s, early 2000s. That Rennie Harlan film was really great. And of course, Jaws really set the level for what a shark film should all be about. And not even just a shark film, but a film about tension. Not even about horror. It was just extremely tense, and how to rack that tension right up whilst delivering some great characters. Well, one thing the Meg 2 doesn't have is great characters. I don't actually remember any of them after this review, except for Jason Statham. And it doesn't really rack tension. It kind of just throws everything at you and expects you to get knocked on the head so many times you've actually forgotten who you are, what you're watching, and why you're even in a cinema. It's kind of where it gets to by the end of the Meg 2. The Trench. Interesting fact about this film is actually based on a series of 6 novels by a writer by the name of Stephen Alton. He's written 6 Meg books. 6. So there's chances are that we're going to get another 4 films. Wow. I suppose the Meg made $280 million at the box office, so that's pretty good. So we'll see where we go to from there, and whether or not Ben Wheatley will be introduced to make another one. I don't know. So for me, the Meg 2, The Trench, would probably get a 5.5 out of 10. But between now and then, please don't go swimming out in the water and expect Jason Statham to come and save you from a shark. It ain't gonna happen. He's sitting at home counting his millions instead. All right.